truth, and nothing but the truth, and will conform to the facts of the case and the rules of this commission. This you affirm under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Please state I do. Very good. You may be seated. Approval of prior meeting minutes. We have the October 10th, 2024 meeting minutes. Any amendments that need to be made? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
A motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Minutes are approved. Moving to old item number 1, application for conditional use CU-12-2024 filed by Richard Benner to establish a triplex on the vacant lot west of 615 Edgar Avenue. CPC staff comments.
This was tabled from last month. Since last month, they have updated the drawing to address staff concerns. First, they shifted the front of the building to align with the average front setback of the neighboring houses. Instead of the driveway access going the length of the site, they will be utilizing the alley to the east. This will lead them to a parking area in the rear that can accommodate the 6 required parking spots. They did request 2 spaces to be left in front as additional parking. From the parking area, there's a new sidewalk that will stretch the length of the structure. It will wrap around the front to a front door in the first unit. The second and third units will still enter from the east facade. To address issues, they have added some arborvitae trees along the east property line. Staff was appreciative of the applicant's updates and efforts to address concerns. We did receive a call from one of the neighbors, and I explained to them what was being proposed, and they did not have any issues.
All right, engineering,
No comment.
fire prevention.
No comment.
Very good. So the recommendation before the commission is staff recommends approval for conditional use CU-12-2024 filed by Richard Benner to establish a triplex on the vacant lot west of 615 Edgar Avenue with the following conditions. Complete the rezone to R3 small lot residential. You're not Richard.
I am not.
Where's Richard? I thought I saw him.
He's back there.
Okay. Any additional comments, adjustments?
No, basically, obviously, this came last month, so we've addressed the things that were brought up. So, like I said, we want to try to have some overflow parking up front to just provide a little more better access for that northern unit. Should be. Sorry. So yeah, really, we just addressed all your comments and kind of centered the building to provide a little more front yard, backyard, rather than pushing it to one side.
Do we have an image of the elevation?
Don't believe so.
Okay. 'Cause
My question, so there is a front door on the north facade.
Correct. Yeah, that was one of the things that they wanted to do. So we added a kind of a little porch up there for the front door access, just to give a different view from the street to make it look more like a normal front door.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah. I asked just to see the elevation because I think I saw a picture of it and it looked really nice. I appreciate you making the adjustments. It is kind of a white cottage style with black accents, I believe, consistent with kind of the neighborhood. Richard, yell at me if I'm saying something wrong, but I do think that addressed my concerns with it not blending into the neighborhood. I still have some concerns with it being quite large. I would have liked to see just a duplex, but it conforms to kind of some of the concerns I had. Other comments from the commission?
No, I appreciate you addressing some of the concerns and comments from the last meeting. Infill can be tricky, because it's trying to go into an existing slot. So Mr. Benner does a great job, and he has a track record of doing really quality infill. So with the adjustments, I'm confident it'll be an asset to that area.
Thank you.
Dan, can you tell me what the side yard distance is on the house to the east then, since you, and now I realize on that red box there, it's a little offset.
Correct. My understanding is the existing resident on the east is very close to the property line. So right now, we have about 23 foot of separation on the east side. So it's gonna be about 25 foot of separation from building to building. And then we've got about 16 foot on the west side.
16 foot from the west building?
To the west property line. We did not locate that existing structure.
Okay, the stakes that are out there, looks like that's the property line almost is only 2 or 3 feet from that existing building.
Correct, yeah, it's extremely tight, as is for a lot of these older communities. They built right up to the property line. So again, we tried to, provide as much separation between both units rather than trying to push it to one side.
But with the east house, you would have at least a 5 foot setback to the
We have
property line?
approximately 25 feet between buildings.
Right.
So, and that existing resident on the east side is a couple feet off the property line onto their property. That's the way it was set up. So I guess I'm not quite seeing what your question is.
Well, I just want to see, I don't want us to make that building non-compliant to code by where we put the property line.
Well, the property line has already been established. That was accepted previously.
Okay?
So, and again, that went through the proper channels of everything. So the lot split has already been taken care of. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to put this infill building and provide adequate separation between the existing buildings. Like I said, rather than pushing it to one side, we wanted to give, again, as much green space between the structures as possible.
And I suppose what determines the side yard and rear yard is not the orientation of the building, but the orientation of the property to the street?
Typically, that's how it's done. So the front would be obviously the street side, and the sides would be along the other residential units, and then the rear would be the back.
But Dan, you're correct. No matter how the building is, no matter where the doors are or how it physically looks, the front yard for this parcel is always the northern edge with the roadway.
So he's required to have 3 feet on both sides of the house is the requirement for the new build is 3 feet. They're given 16 and 25. So substantial. And then the lot split was created to make that house conforming. So there is 3 feet from the house that got split off to the property line.
Okay. And I assume he's going to relocate that existing parking area for the other house?
Yes.
Was there anyone else here that wanted to speak for or against this item? Yep, Josh, you can come forward. Don't break my chair. Oh, I know it's broken. It's a hazard. Someday we'll fix it. It's to keep you on your toes.
So, Josh Slough, I am the property owner to the east. I am all for this. So, most of this is rentals down here. Obviously, the one that's to the east that I own is a rental property. To the east of that is a rental property. To the west of the property is a rental property. And I believe most of those up there are rental properties. The one to the east of me has been renovated within the last year. This property will bring up the entire neighborhood. So if you've ever seen any of Rich's work, he does excellent work. We'd all live in his house. He's been building this community for, I don't know, 50 years? Or, yeah. So I love this project. I think it will bring up the entire neighborhood values. It will open the door once the values in the neighborhood come up. I can do some renovation on my property as well, bring everything up. West will probably continue the same, and then to the north of that as well.
Very good. Thank you.
Matt, do you know if this is completed, its rezoning R3
I believe it's still in the process,
is process?
but we made a positive recommendation. Planning and Zoning Committee made a positive recommendation. It's at City Council. When both bodies make a positive recommendation, it's 99% chance that it will go through.
I think we just had the public hearing at the last council meeting, so it's in its waiting period.
Okay, so now it's in its waiting period, so.
Hey Dan, I know last month we expressed some concerns about the triplex versus the duplex. Maybe help understand why they want to go with the triplex versus the duplex, given the concerns about density.
I mean, it's just, that's what he would prefer to do, is just go with the triplex. Obviously, more units you can put in, provides more affordable housing. So, I mean, that's pretty much the main reason.
Any other questions or comments? Anything from staff? Hearing none, I will motion to approve conditional use CU-12-2024 filed by Richard Benner.
Second?
We'll give it to Jackie. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Matt, whenever you're ready.
Mayor Murin,
Aye.
Rob Martin,
Aye.
Carrie Trumbley,
No.
Jackie Schroeder,
Aye.
Dan Klinger.
No.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving to new item number 1, application for site plan review SP-13-2024, filed by Cam Brown, 2B Investments LLC, to construct a 12,800 square foot of contractor storage buildings at the southeast corner of Taunton Avenue on lots 4107 and 3408 of the Carnahan addition. CPC staff comments.
This request is located to the east of Totten Avenue, south of Sandusky Street. It is zoned I-1 light industrial. To the south is zoned I-2 heavy industrial. Along Sandusky Street to the north is mostly R3 small lot residential. It is not located within a 100-year floodplain. The site is currently vacant. In September 2024, there was a 16-foot unimproved alley that was vacated between lots 4107 of the Joy Edition and lot 3408 of the Carnahan Edition. The applicant is requesting to construct a 12,800 square foot of contractor storage building on the property. This would be done in 2 phases. Phase 1 would create a 200 by 40 building with 8 bay doors on the north elevation of the building. This building would be pushed about as far to the south as possible to be the least impactful to the residents to the north. The second building would be 120 feet by 40 feet building to the north of the drive that is created on the site. The building would meet the setbacks and height requirements of the I-1 district. On the north side of the site, there will be a 6-foot tall vinyl fence that will run from the substation to the east property line. Drainage will be located on the north side of the site in a swale. Given the size and location, landscaping on the north would be difficult to provide, so the fence is an acceptable substitute. On the east side of the site, they're proposing a row of 13 pines. Given this is abutting industrial zoning, staff is supportive of this improvement.
Engineering.
Worked with Dan on this one a little bit. No real concerns or anything like that, but we'll continue to work with them because the roadway will bring that down to the driveway because the drive will be coming off of Totten, even though that's a dead end. So we'll work with them on that. And the storm drainage, we worked all that in where all the impervious area is going to be captured within the area. So I don't have any concerns with it. Just make sure, like we talked, get the permits beforehand.
Yep.
Very good. Fire prevention.
Same thing for us. We just want to make sure you get the permits for construction.
Thank you. So the staff recommends approval of application for site plan review SP-13-2024, followed by Cam Brown, 2B Investments LLC, to construct a 12,800 square foot of contractor storage buildings at the southeast corner of Taunton Avenue on lots 4107 and 3408 of the Carnahan addition. Discussion. You up for this one as well?
I am. Just one point of clarification, Matt stated along the east property line, those are existing pine trees. We are not going to install those, and they are located on the adjacent property owner. Granted, they are smaller ones, but hopefully they will mature up. As we stated, there is some existing vegetation along the south side of the residential properties to the north. So the intent, we try to maintain that, and then we're going to go ahead and put up the vinyl fence. We feel that that's going to be a better, more secure for one, and a better buffer between the industrial use and the existing residences there. As Jeremy stated, we're working with the city. We're going to go ahead and extend the public roadway down over that way there. That way you have a paved access all the way down to that. there's really no need to go all the way to the south property line. That's Marathon Tank Farm. So, like I said, the developer's working with the city on that. Drainage, we're compliant for, with current regulations. So, again, just kind of, at this point, cold storage, no sewer, no water needed at this point. If they were ever to do that, there is sewer and water up along the street where it can be extended in the future.
So Dan, just to help me understand, so it's storage units that will be available for rent, or it is just for that individual property owner's use?
They're available for rent.
Okay.
These are going to be 20-foot by 40-foot units. So we're seeing this a lot more in not only Findlay, but other communities. Small contractor, it's a one-man shop. He needs to park his truck inside, have a little bit of storage inside. Again, the intent is not to have any outside storage here. It's all internal at this point. And like I said, you're starting to see these pop up more and more all over Northwest Ohio. So it's just, it's kind of a somewhat of a new concept, but we feel it'd be a good fit down that area, especially with, the existing storage right across the street.
Is
Yeah.
the pond sized for phase 1 and phase 2? Or
Correct,
can they
yes.
expand it?
Nope, it's designed right now for one phase, or for the entire development.
Okay.
And obviously with the substation easement and stuff there, that's why it's kind of notched out around it. We can't get into that easement.
That pond is very shallow, though.
Correct,
Only a foot and a half or something like that?
correct. That's why it's taken up that whole area. And again, we've complied with both, well, I guess this is under an acre, so we don't have to worry about the Ohio EPA, but again, we work well with the city. We design all of our ponds properly. So, and we're going out to a public storm sewer.
Yeah, I know you do. I just have to ask questions so I,
But yeah,
so I understand. Yeah.
It is very tight. We are utilizing every inch of that particular property to get that drainage in there due to the shallowness of it.
You're building storm sewer from the pond out to Sandusky? to
Correct.
drain?
There is
Okay.
there is an unimproved alley right here. Originally, there was discussion of trying to go north on Totten, but unfortunately, with the tight right-of-way there, overhead power lines, there's already a water line there. We don't have the ability or room to go up that way. So the intent would go up this public alley and tie into the public storm sewer. We've had it surveyed. The good thing is we can get our storm sewer in there without removing any of the existing foliage that's there. So we felt that would be a good option, and obviously that area will be repaired to at or better condition than what it is today.
And that is an unimproved public alley still?
That's correct, yes.
Jeremy, can we just make a note, and when they're looking to do that, look if there's any opportunity that would make sense for a storm drain in that area with any of the issues with drainage that we see at times? Just give it
Yeah.
a look to make sure.
Yeah, we
there's-
can take a look at that.
Yeah.
And I had another question, but let me go back in my brain and remember what it was. Oh, I was just gonna say, overall, I like this. I'm not a big fan of storage units all over the place. I'd rather, just have less stuff. But this concept I do like, because one of the things that we've been talking about as an administration for discussion next year with council is the outdoor storage of more industrial equipment in neighborhoods. That's a challenge that we've been seeing, and we want to support small businesses, kind of like the ones that you're mentioning, but it's very disruptive to a neighborhood when there's, work trucks sitting on a roadway or in a driveway, and it kind of takes away the neighborhood aesthetic. So I really like this concept, and I think that it makes more sense, obviously, to be contained in a more industrial area.
Correct. That's one of the reasons why they are looking at this. Like I said, you have the tank farm, you have industrial use over there, and that's one of the reasons why I was able to convince the developer to go ahead and put that vinyl fence up there again for a better separation between the resident and the industrial use.
When-
Was there anyone else here that wanted to speak for or against this item? Sometimes people hide from me, so I want to make sure. All right.
When you say contractor storage unit, is it limited to that, or is it really a storage unit that you can rent to anyone because
Yeah,
I got a boat I want to store or something
Yeah,
like
we're
that?
not limiting the use of who can rent it, but it's set up larger, so if somebody wanted to do that. A lot of times what we'll see too is people will rent these larger units and they'll store cars in there. Small boats or whatever that you can get into that. So it's not exclusively for a contractor, but it's being open for that. And we wanted to make sure that you were aware that, okay, there could be contractors, it's not your typical storage unit.
Okay.
So yes, both of these uses fit within the zoning, but again, it's just to be open that, yes, you could see a contractor or two having that in there, but you could also see somebody in there just using it as a standard storage rental unit.
Is the fence going to be placed on the property line, which is now the center line of the former alley?
That alley was not vacated,
Oh, it
so
wasn't?
that alley, this alley right here was vacated. So this alley is going to still remain. So we're gonna go ahead and it's gonna be along our property line.
Okay.
Again, it'll be on our side, so you'll still have that, what is it, 16-foot, 15-foot alley? I tell you, 13-foot alley. But yeah, the alley will still be there.
Okay.
Other questions or comments from the audience or commission? Staff? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the site plan review. I think this is a great use of space. It's certainly better for contractor stores than just a lay-down yard, a gravel lay-down yard, so.
I'll second.
Perfect. We have a motion and a second. Matt, whenever you are ready.
Dan Klinger,
Aye.
Jackie Schroeder,
Aye.
Carrie Trumbley,
Aye.
Rob Martin,
Aye.
Mayor Murin.
Aye. Very good.
Thank you very much.
New item number 2, application for final plat FP-09-2024 filed by RGL Trenton Findlay LLC to replat lots 2 through 4 of the Benroth subdivision with lot 5 of Independent Square subdivision into a single lot. CPC staff comments.
This request is on the south side of West Trenton Avenue to the west of Independence Square. The Benroth subdivision are 5 lots stretching along West Trenton Avenue. The Independence Square subdivision is just to the south, including the Trenton Avenue Walmart location. The City of Findlay Land Use Plan designates the area as regional commercial. Parcel history, these lots are currently vacant. The applicant owns I'm not sure, 2 of the 4, or lots 2 through 4 of the Benroth subdivision, as well as lot 5 of Independence Square. They would like to replat all these lots into a single lot so that they can be developed in the future. They indicated a site plan would be submitted after the lots were combined. Staff has no concerns with this request.
Engineering. Oh, sorry.
Nope.
No
Got
comment.
excited. Fire prevention.
No comment.
Very good. All right, so the recommendation before the commission, staff recommends approval of application for final plat FP-09-2024 filed by RGL Trenton Findlay LLC to replat lots 2 through 4 of the Benroth subdivision with lot 5 of Independence Square subdivision into a single lot. Discussion. Is the applicant here to speak on this item? If you could just come forward. It's not super exciting, no offense, but that should be easy.
Right. I'm David Marshall with KBJW, and I'm here on behalf of the owner. If you have any questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them if I know.
Any questions or comments from the commission?
I'm Matt, maybe you can help me here. I'm a little confused on this map that we have here on the submittal. I see the subdivision name. Wait a minute. Post. There's a darker line that doesn't outline what appears to be the whole property.
Is it this drawing?
No, it's the one that had the yellow one. They had the yellow on it there.
Are you talking about this?
Yes, yeah.
That's a right-of-way take. That was done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, per the original plat that was there, and then when ODOT came through with 224, they probably took an additional right-of-way through there. So you still show it because it's part of the original plat, but it's part of the right-of-way now.
So the right-of-way goes to that second north line, the heavy line, right?
To the
Correct.
to the dark line.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
I have no concerns with this. I think it makes sense to make it a larger lot, which is probably more consistent for being able to put a commercial user in that area. So I have no concerns. Other questions? Was there anyone else in the audience that wanted to speak for or against this item? If you can just come forward and introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, I'm John Benroth. I live next door to these lots. I would like to know how close they can build to me on them lots. Because right now, we're Walmart and Waffle House, I get all the trash from all them people. And I just wanna know, how close. RJ tried, they wanted to buy me out, but they don't wanna give me nothing for my lot. I can't buy another house for what they wanna give me.
Yeah.
Because I need a Morton building and at least a 3-bedroom home,
So you're this property to the east?
Yes, I'm between Walmart and this property,
Yeah.
I'm between the Waffle House and this property here.
Okay.
And their property line is like 3 foot from my from my garage.
Yeah, Eric?
So with this is just for the plat, but whenever this project comes through, we'll come back through for setbacks and other requirements. But on the side lot there, should be a 20-foot setback. But being that it is a commercial lot and you are residential, they'll have to do some screening requirements in between the two. But that screening requirement can go up to the property line. So if it's a fence or if it's arborvitaes or whatever, it can go up to it, but the building has to be a minimum of 20 feet from that property line that they had established right there.
Okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, a parking lot has to be at least 5 feet from the property line.
From the side, yeah.
So from this property line, parking lot would have to be 5 feet from your property line, and then the building could be within 20 feet of your property line.
So how did Waffle House get away with putting their fence right on my property and they got their parking lot right up against their fence?
The code has been changed.
Is that what it was?
Yep, we updated the code to make it more considerate of surrounding properties and better design layouts to try to avoid having properties right there abutting. And unfortunately, that was a prior one, and with code changes, they're only forward-looking. We can't go back and retroactively make modifications.
And I think that was my recollection, that was probably built under Liberty Township zoning. Fences can be on the property line. Hearing your concerns, staff, when a site plan does come through, we will make recommendations to have as much buffer as possible. You also will receive a notice, like you did for this. And my recommendation, if you're able to, come to the site plan review meeting, express your concerns, because at that time, the planning commission can make requirements of the developer.
Now, later on, if I decide to buy another home, can I change that to commercial? And
Yes.
have
well,
something on that property?
I can't promise you, because but it makes complete sense with your property being on Trenton Avenue, and being surrounded by commercial. Staff would definitely recommend approval of commercial zoning.
Okay,
That, isn't it already commercial?
Oh, it already is commercial zone.
it is already a commercial zone?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks.
all right, thank you.
See how fast we got that changed for you?
Other questions or comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second for approval of application, I'm assuming, for final plat FP 09-2024 filed by RGL Trenton Findlay LLC to replat lots 2 through 4 of the Benroth subdivision with lot 5 of Independent Square subdivision into a single lot. Matt, whenever you're ready.
Rob Martin,
Aye.
Carrie Tremblay, Jackie Schroeder,
Aye.
Dan Klinger,
Aye.
Mayor Murin.
Aye.
Keeping you on your toes.
All right, application 3, application for alley vacation AV-06-2024 filed by the Hancock County Commissioners to vacate the eastern 200 lineal feet of east-west alley between South Corey Street and the north-south alley between West Main Cross Street and Crawford Street. CPC staff comments.
This request is the eastern 200 lineal feet of the east-west alley between South Croy Street and the north-south alley between West Main Cross Street and Crawford Street. It is located between the Hancock County Jail and the new Judicial Center on West Main Cross Street. The Hancock County Commissioners have requested a vacation for this stretch of the alley. On the west half of this alley is the Findlay Post Office mailboxes. The north-south alley, it intersects is one way to the south towards Crawford Street. With the elimination of this alley, traffic would be forced south and then back to the west to West Street as a result. The commissioners request this alley vacation in order to enhance the security of the rear portion of the building and the vehicles to be parked in that interior lot. The commissioners are considering, if the vacation is granted, the installation of a movable barrier, possibly a sliding or lifting gate to further limit access to the rear of the new building. It is anticipated that the parking spaces outside the security fence on the north side of the current alley would largely be used by the Hancock County Sheriff's Office or other county vehicles. And the vacation of the alley would further the efficiency and safety of personnel accessing those vehicles. Finally, they anticipate sheriff's deputies having to escort individuals between the Justice Center and the new Judicial Center. Vacating this portion of the alley would further the safety and security of those transfers and the people involved in them. Staff called the post office to see if they had any concerns with the request. Their vehicles leave via the Southwest Street exit behind the building, so their traffic does not utilize the alley. Having the north-south access for parking would be unimpacted by the vacation.
Engineering.
So I'm not in favor of this. There's a number of utilities that are going through there. You can see electric line that's going through there. I know there's quite a bit of buried fiber as well, and then we have a sanitary behind. So a lot of that's going to be within an easement already. With a lot of traffic coming through the post office, I know the post office said they don't have a problem, but that's where they have their drop-off boxes. Making that 90-degree turn down to Crawford is a problem already. So now you're forcing everyone that way. That building, or that Parker building, is going to be struck more. You're going to have more vehicle accidents. So I think for the public, conducive of public, it's not conducive for them. It's easier to go out to Corey. Kind of another concern, I guess my one question is, where was this within the site plan? As we were going through the site plan for the judicial building, why wasn't the concern brought up at that time?
Fire prevention.
We just want to see how they're planning on closing it, whether it's permanent, movable, so if we needed access, we could gain access, or whether we had to look at some other ways.
Okay. So the recommendation from staff is staff recommends denial of the application for alley vacation AV-06-2024 filed by the Hancock County Commissioners to vacate the eastern 200 lineal feet of east-west alley between South Corey Street and north-south alley between West Main Cross Street and Crawford Street. Would you guys like to come forward? Hi, Phil. Hello. Commissioner Bechtel, Captain. Very good. Can you just tell us a little bit about the request?
Yes. I would start with the proposition that Mark Price is here from the Sheriff's Office to answer any questions you may have, and so is Tim Bechtel. I think they also have some input as to what they perceive the safety effects to be from vacating this strip of alley. I'll refrain from repeating things. The petitioner seeks vacation of this portion of the alley in order to enhance the safety of court personnel, Sheriff's Office personnel, the public using the new Judicial Center, and the public in general. The new configuration, which unfortunately is too new to show up on the picture here, includes, if you can imagine, at the north extent of the alley, the rectangle, there are, I believe, 16 parking spaces that are perpendicular to the flow of the alley. There is also, just north of that, a fenced-in parking lot that has approximately 12 parking spaces for personnel for the new judicial center, and also some of them are there for the possibility of delivery of prisoners or other security personnel. Again, this is principally done for safety. I did want to note that there is no anticipation that that the alley would be torn up to, which would cause any problems for utilities or utility service. There's also no anticipation that it would be permanently cut off. The anticipation, if we put up a barrier, is that it would be a movable barrier, whether that's a sliding gate, a lifting gate, something that would allow access to fire personnel and any other utilities. At this point, what I think I would like to do is have first Commissioner Bechtel set forth for the committee exactly what safety elements that he perceives as being enhanced by the vacation of the alley.
Just to note, Google Earth is always watching, and we do have an updated photo to refer to. So if in this photo, it's a little hard to see, but the alley is right here. These are the parking spots that Phil was referring to.
It has been publicly established by Judge Starn that this new judicial center will probably be the busiest building in the county due to the occupants that we're assembling in that building. The back side of the new building does have a secure parking lot within a fence in area, and you can see that that comes in on the west side and follows the same traffic pattern as this alley. Enters on the west side, exits on the east side, just like the alley does. If we were to consider putting up some type of gate on the west side of this alley, if it was vacated, we would not be putting one up on the east side since the traffic is exiting only from that side. So there would be no deterrent from fire protection coming in from this side. Should also note that there's a great deal of traffic with the city police vehicles in Corey Street as this alley deposits into that area. It's a very congested area. As we look at the occupancy of the new building, like I said, there is a secure parking lot here that we will be bringing in juvenile defenders from the Wood County holding facility or the detention facility. But in the case that there would be an adult offender coming out of adult probation on the first floor, they would be pedestrian escorted down to the judicial center directly behind this. So we anticipate a great deal more of pedestrian traffic between the two buildings for security reasons. And then, of course, with this entire row of parking being designated to the sheriff's office, we see an increased amount of vehicular traffic for the sheriff's office in that alley. It's just not a situation that we want to have the public in the midst of, driving through the middle of all that. And we should also note that this section of the alley that we're talking about was closed down for 6 weeks during construction, and we're not aware of any adverse difficulty that was presented to the public who was using the drop boxes for the U.S. Post Office at that time. Would like to thank the city for the improvements that were done in this portion of the north-south portion of the alley between the post office and the new building. That has really enhanced that parking for the post office traffic there as well.
One thing for me to point out before I ask Mr. Price to come in and speak is that the fenced-in portion, this fenced-in parking lot, is going to be one way west to east. So people will enter on the west side of that and exit on the east side of it.
Mark Price, Sheriff's Office. I think they hit the safety issue very well, but some other concerns I have is the parking they mentioned for the Sheriff's Office, but you also got to include juvenile probation and adult probation's parking in that back 16 rows as well. Well aware of the utilities, my fiber goes underneath that same roadway. Obviously, AEP's back there. We've had transformer issues for the fire and things like that. Just a raw idea, 110 employees, 62 to 65 on day shift alone, 25 to 40 off shifts, different shift zones, 7 to 3, 8 to 4 from corrections and enforcement. Contract services parked there, walking, nursing staff, food staff. I think you're gonna see a major increase of foot traffic with adult probation, whereas now they bring in cars to the Sally Port with those offenders. That'll all be walking. And the other concern we have is any type of an alarm, panic alarm, that we would receive from the building. You're gonna see the foot traffic leaving the Justice Center like you do if you have an alarm at any of the other facilities locally, but that foot traffic is gonna be coming through there. And of course, we do utilize that parking. It's just not for spare cruisers. That is for active cruisers because of our parking issues. So the foot traffic to and around the Justice Center for on-duty shifts, as far as enforcements that are leaving for emergency response, is greater now than it was several years ago because of parking issues. That's all I have.
So I have a couple thoughts. I would concur with Jeremy on, I feel like this really should have been addressed when the entire site plan was brought forward so that we had an opportunity to address it. One of my additional concerns, which I know is very forward-looking, but with an alley vacation, if at any point in the future the justice in the jail is not the jail, you now are limiting access points and flow through there. So I think part of alley structures is to provide long-term transportation through there. I feel like personally I would rather work with Traffic Commission and do almost a pilot with signage saying that it's only for court and jail traffic, and kind of see how that works. Because I think you're saying, okay, we're gonna block it off so they're, make it so it's just for those personnel that are supposed to be back there, the restricted access. But if you're not putting any physical barrier, then really you're not stopping it from access. But if you put a physical barrier, then that impedes, safety and these other services. So I feel like we're in a little bit of a catch-22. I certainly understand and am supportive of moving prisoners and inmates or, through that back area so that they're not on the main streets. I think that that's both safer and, better aesthetically. But I'm just concerned about eliminating an alley long-term that serves a purpose for flow in this area.
So I've got a quick, I'm sorry, unless you wanted to respond to that.
I understand her point of view.
A couple times it's been mentioned that this request is to enhance the safety. I understand enhancing safety, but do you think this is an unsafe situation today? The way it's laid out today, is it unsafe for you guys to operate with this alley?
Well, I think anytime we have escorts out in the public between buildings, there's always a degree of safety concern there, both from unknown traffic that may be looking for opportunities, as well as just having someone outside. So, there's a safety concern in transporting anyone outside buildings. You want to further that?
No, I would agree. I think anytime the liability is there with the office during the transport of the prisoner,
Sure,
it is going to be higher and greater. And a lot of it is, yes, could we put them in a cruiser, drive around the block, but then you have the parking issues within the secure perimeter. As I believe it's the Supreme Court has designated that you have to have a secure parking lot for your judges and such and their designees. So that's part of the reason why you had the secure area with the fencing and things, because we had to meet those recommendations. But anytime, my concern is, and technically right now we do cross Corey Street to get to the Juvenile Justice Center. It is a concern of ours, because what happens, yes, they are leg restrained and also body belted with handcuffs, but if they lunge, somebody makes a lunge, somebody's distracted driving and things like that, we're making that cross, and we are liable for that life and that person as we make those transports. And a lot of it's because of the parking to load somebody in our Sally Port and make the block and then find parking on the Doreen Plaza area. It's just very very hard to do that.
Okay.
How do you currently handle trash and that sort of thing at the jail there? How does the truck come in and to access that? Does it come in off of Corey Street?
So we do have a current loading dock that's very seldom used. We only bring in very small box trucks to use the loading dock. Any type of a semi that comes in, we use Corey Street. We actually park over near the bike lane, and then we unload that unit from there using a pallet jack. It's just because of even the semi cannot back into that
Right.
area regardless. But we can still have access for utilities that can come in, and also a smaller box truck style. We get very few of those deliveries anymore. Everything's coming by bigger freight, it seems like.
Okay. Now, again, when you transport a juvenile, you're going into the secured parking lot?
So Wood County, yes, because our juveniles are stored up at Wood
Yeah,
County
right.
Justice Center. So yeah, that is by transportation coming and utilizing the west alley, heading south, turning into what is now the secured area would be that.
Hey. Okay. If you transport somebody from the jail, where do you go into the center for?
Go ahead, this button right there.
So we're going to, I think it just died.
Oh.
It was.
Okay. Sorry about that. I didn't you think I was not showing you here. So it's the belief right now we're going to utilize this
yeah.
walkway. There is a door, a man door here, what we'll call man gate there, and also one on this end that is secured access brought in by our cards and or fingerprint. We're still finalizing that, but this walkway right here is going to be what's utilized. And it's also right here is the exit for the adult probation, because we don't want the cross of juveniles and adults. So once somebody from the adult probation enters this corner of the building, they're actually escorted out of this door in this area here, and they'll utilize, adult probation will utilize this sidewalk to gain access. They've already told us they're no longer going to transport because they're so close proximity. As of right now, from 514, we go down and either escort ourselves to the sheriff's office or probation officers drive into our Sally Port. But they've already informed us that as close as we are, they're going to make that walk. Now, if there's an offender that's getting out of control or something, we have to make our decision of the day. You know, we're going to utilize this alley. We'll probably stop and block the alley temporarily while we go into the building, because you want to have a secure vehicle there in case you got to remove somebody, right? It's the safety of them and also us. So we would probably come into this way, but if we have time, we would probably try to park back in here. Obviously, we want to be out of sight and sound of the public. We want to do things as professional as possible, and that would be utilizing this area here, but those are our concerns.
He's asking where you're going to go into the Justice Center.
So as far as intake,
Yeah.
we would actually walk all the way down and then access this alley to get over here. Our entry for the Sally Port is these two doors right here, underneath this wing. And there's also a man door, secure door in between those two. So that would be a walk from here, and then we utilize the alley is where we would be. If not, we're stepping through vehicles underneath this wing here, and then entering this walkway here, and you just have increased foot traffic there from employees and such.
So your plan would be on the west side of the alley to have some sort of barrier,
Just right here.
just right there?
Yes.
Right? And that would be movable.
I would want it
by-
movable for all purposes, fire, utilities. I'm well aware of the fiber issues. We just pulled our fiber for the new building through there and all that.
What about the parking that's there? Would it be moved on a regular basis as you said that was for sheriff, active
Yes.
duty sheriff, so as people
And
were
also
coming
spare
in?
parking. So,
And also spare
and we're constantly shuffling. If you imagine a fleet of
Sure.
51 vehicles, every day something's going for an oil
Yep.
change, tires, or recommended things like that.
Yep.
So yes, this is constantly moving and things like that.
But the barrier may only be a crossbar or like a.
Yeah.
Okay, where badge in or something
Yeah.
like that
Badge
to,
in, yeah.
to raise it.
So you're not looking for something secure.
No.
It's
No,
just-
it's just to stop traffic, yeah. Because like the secure parking lot that is on the south side of the new building, that actually has a solid gate that slides. It won't be that secure.
How often do you anticipate needing to bring people through this?
Great question.
Process.
It changes daily, it changes hourly. When we get a request from Judge Johnson, that is the request. It could be the morning of, it could be, morning for the afternoon. But we're moving daily, we move somebody from Wood County down, or we bring somebody from the Justice Center up. being an adult going over for some type of pretrial or child support hearing or something like that.
And that's the people that you would be walking between the
Walking back
Justice
and
Center
forth.
and the
In adult
jail.
probation, like I said, currently right now, I don't know their numbers because we don't see that. We only go down to 514 when there's some type of, maybe altercation or somebody's being a little standoffish, we appear. Typically, they do all their own transports, but now I think it's gonna be more of a joint effort since we're gonna have a couple deputies in the building at all times. We might be able to assist with those transports as well.
So I'm just curious about the mayor's suggestion of putting the barrier that you suggested, a gate barrier, but keep it open, keep the alley there, and then when you need to transport people back and forth, closing it for that. Does that meet your needs for safety? Sounds like
I
you're
mean-
saying the concern was as people are walking back and forth, you want restricted access,
Right.
which makes sense, but then keeping it open, I do share the concern about, I got an F-150, that is tough to make
Yeah.
that turn
That's what I
when you're
drive as
dropping
well.
off.
I
Yeah,
drive a full-size truck with a cab, so for
So when-
communications and the things that I carry
Yep.
in my vehicle.
so I just avoided dropping off mail, the one that was closed. So, I mean, that, I understand there was 6 weeks it was closed, but I'm sure a lot of people did the same thing I did. If it's permanently closed, that's gonna be an issue for the post office.
So,
To answer your question, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I
I feel
asked a
like
lot
I
at
answered
you
the
there.
question and I didn't get a chance.
Sorry.
To stop and lower a gate, I guess
Yep.
I'd be concerned with that. Are we gonna do that? In a panic type situation where we're coming out of the building to get into that building, which, you know, we set it up so we can get in with really limited access with our badges and such, and we can get in, we have priority elevators, things like that are really for the safety of those people
Sure.
inside. I'm coming out of my office to go there, I'm not gonna stop and drop a gate. That makes sense to you? I mean, if you're escorting a subject in whatever kind of maneuverability, I don't know what that looks like, I'm sorry. But if I have to drop a gate, if I have an inmate with me, which I do those type of transports daily if needed, I don't think I'm gonna stop and drop a gate, cause I don't wanna let go of one to do another.
Sure.
And then, of course, you have, you know, the fear of lunge and things like that. I don't know how that looks.
Well, I guess my concern too is, you've described a gate that sounds like a crossbar, which really doesn't stop any additional pedestrian, it's just limiting the traffic. So I guess, again, I would prefer to maybe set up our mobile camera for a while and get actual traffic counts and flow, and you guys be in the building for a while to understand. And again, I'm not opposed to working together to, once we better understand and can go through traffic commission to do restricted access through there. But I think for the long-term flow and potential of that, I wouldn't necessarily be in favor of vacating it officially, because in 20 years, things may change and we may need to have that back for other purposes. So I think we can achieve both, but I think we need to have a little bit better understanding, because obviously I'm fully supportive of the safety concerns. However, if that was truly such a big safety concern, again, I think it should have been addressed and brought up and thought through before everything was constructed, and now it's an afterthought, and is gonna cause an inconvenience to the public. And I see this area all the time. I come out of PD and look at this area, and I understand, but I don't think it's gonna be it's not like every 10 minutes there's a car going through that area where it is a significant issue, especially when it is a pretty restricted area to start with.
So I have a comment and then a question for you. First, my concern of limiting this, not only from an engineering perspective, his comments, but I know that our patrol use this very frequently as well. It pulls people off. They have different ingress and egress from the Sally Port, and blocking this off for our patrol would be, I think, a detriment. And then a question for you: when you talk about the security access of going from the jail across, again, just a thought. I'm almost a little concerned we're taking them up pedestrian walkways so close to the post office and the general public. Would it make sense to actually, where it's secured in the U shape, sorry, I don't have a pointer, the open parking spots, like create an access gate there that actually you can walk somebody that's restrained and limit the public access and then walk through into that already secured, concreted, gated area, and then go to the respective man doors regarding juvenile, sorry, my medical side, or the adult. So I just, again, wasn't involved in the design, but if concern of safety, limited access to the general public, that would make, if they're coming from the jail south, that would make more sense. So, just a thought.
So, no, I get you. So, no, I get you. And I want to address Mayor Murn's concerns too. So I have a couple, so hopefully I don't forget them. I wouldn't have a problem with that design. There'd obviously be a change order, curbing's already done, fence is already done, so we'd have to make some changes. My concerns would be if that's full of vehicles, which it's going to be. We'd be walking inmates through vehicles, the threat of somebody falling against them with the security that we have on them, scratching an employee's car, deputy's car, we understand those happen daily. But an employee's car or civilian, one of our civilian employees' vehicles or a contract employee vehicle, I'd be concerned there. Yes, we made them as small as we could, but yeah, as big as we could in order to get as much parking as possible. So I don't know if that, could be a change order that could be looked at, and we maybe could address something like that. I understand that request. That would be for the commissioners, though. That's outside of deputy sheriff here. And to address Mayor Murn, I guess, and I don't know, maybe not you, maybe the whole commission, because I'm not real familiar with this commission. I understand it from a standpoint, but we don't deal with it a lot on the county side. Are you able just to temporarily or vacate during court hours, where this lift gate is retracted, and then after, let's say 4:30, most court hearings are done in juvenile court, domestic relations court. Now, adult probation goes a little longer than that at times, but is it something we can reduce just during court hours, during those court times? I know it'd be a traffic issue. People would be constantly going, is it open or closed today? I get all that. I guess I'm just asking, because I don't know the question.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that kind of is what I was talking about, is being, but that wouldn't be this commission, because an alley vacation is a complete legal documentation of it. If we vote to vacate and then council votes to vacate, then the property is technically split permanently between the two property owners. And so then it is nearly impossible to ever put it back.
Understand.
So what I am saying, to address your concerns, have more flexibility and do a test process, is because this is within the city of Findlay, Traffic Commission would be able to put signage, we could put restricted hours to help deter people from going through there, to help limit the overall traffic, but it is still accessible, it's not legally gone. And because that's my concern, once that happens, we can never really redo it.
And it helps echo that and emphasize that a little bit, Captain, is Traffic Commission is myself, police chief, fire chief, public works, streets, as well as a council member. So you actually have people that know your job that would actually be part of that conversation and the traffic flow and things like that. So I think we can have that discussion and accomplish what you need to suffice what limited situation you have to work with. I think we can accomplish that there without eliminating this long-term, to the mayor's point.
I got a question, because this is going to trickle into Traffic Commission as well, possibly. So say that alley was vacated, you guys are still going to use that same travel path, like going east to west up the sidewalk. You're not going to put, because if I agree with what Rob was saying. You're going to lose a parking spot for sure, and you're going to have to put a gate within there. But if you close that alley down, I guess I don't see what's different between keeping it open to closing it down if you're still going to travel the same path. Because if you went straight up through the middle, like what Rob was saying, then like during in Traffic Commission, we can say, okay, a gate goes down or goes across only during transporting, and you guys are secure, you got people coming back. But even if you put that gate there, you're still going out into a public alley, or within the public reach, because even blocking that off. So was there a plan to take that straight north into the Judicial Center, or it was still the same path?
I'm not aware of a plan that we ever had coming north out of our building.
Okay.
In between the parking. And I didn't sit on every meeting with the architect.
Sure.
Sheriff Hellman sat on a majority of them, and he apologized he couldn't be here today. And that's why I'm here. But I don't ever remember a path there.
Okay.
And a lot of it was because of our elevator location and the priorities that we're going to have for transport of prisoners in those elevators, and also the judge's request of having a separate entrance for law enforcement and also those detained outside the public. So we weren't coming in the front doors. We weren't walking around the building and things like that.
Right.
So I don't know the answer, and I apologize.
No, you're fine.
Today, I wish I had that for you, but that'd be something for the commissioners more so than me. But
Yeah.
right now, that was our plan from the get-go.
Okay. I mean, you kind of see what I mean. Like, we block off, okay, we have a secure area, and then it's like we're closed here, and then all of a sudden we're going right back out into, out into the public area.
You're
So
saying for our units to still
if
use-
you're using that sidewalk, yeah, because you're going to be secured heading west, and all of a sudden you hit that north-south, and you're unsecured again. So, that's where, if we're worried about that concern, I'd rather have you guys, okay, we close that off, and you head straight north into the building type, and like the mayor was saying, block it off.
I like it, but I gotta go through my process.
Right.
I like it, I'll fight for it. Yeah, losing the parking spot, I know it sounds like one, but
Well, it actually.
Don't get us started on parking. This is a fight you will not win.
I do not lose parking. I do know that.
We have parking on this side that we'd end up probably losing one, but we'd also have to lose a parking space along this side too.
Yeah, because those are parallel. On the south side of that gate are parallel.
This is parallel parking here, and this is diagonal parking
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, it seems to me that if you're transporting someone to that building, you really would want the shortest route possible.
Yeah.
And, that just gives you just across the alley sort of thing, and, you're into that area. As you're doing it now, you're taking them right along the public alley. Now, granted, you said you could temporarily block that, but, I like the idea of going through the gate on the south side, or the fence on the south side.
So I'd offer this, I think the idea of going to traffic commission sounds like the right thing to do. If can't figure out a solution there and it's still a concern, I mean, then you can always come back and request the alley vacation again and say, hey, we've tried this for a couple months, it's not working, here are the concerns, we need the alley vacation. I think we'd be open to hearing that.
I think the numbers are important. I mean, I'm a numbers guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Numbers are important, and that'd probably be a good study to have too. I'm pretty open to suggestions as well.
Okay.
It's all about safety. I'm just worried.
The reason for the request for the alley vacation was because the county owns both sides of it and was just a slam dunk. We wouldn't have to be considering two different landowners.
Sure.
Yes, I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
And it could always be put back if there was any change in ownership, but we don't foresee that any time in the future, so.
Probably not.
Well, I think it sounds like maybe we want to table this until
Well,
they
so
do
it's
some
up to
study.
you guys if you want a table and then you can come back. Otherwise, I would just say we deny, and then if you decide to reapply, you just won't have to pay the fee. We would be okay with that.
I was waiting for.
I would be in favor of tabling.
Okay.
That'll give you time to, even if it's several months, to
Yes.
kind of look at this and maybe have the traffic commission maybe do some signage that might assist with the traffic flow and study that a bit.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'd move the table then. Oh.
So, discussing back here, make sure, because can this carry on from December to January?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure, like, it didn't
Yeah,
die
since
out
it's not a
and-
change of council.
Okay.
And, yeah, so that's fine.
Should,
All right.
if that's the case, should we just wait for word about whether it's been brought back up, or should we
No, no.
request that
If
it
it's
So
tabled,
what
then
happens-
it's gonna just keep being on the agenda until you request otherwise.
So I was gonna make that point. If it is tabled or denied, whatever the decision of the committee is, then you have to reach out to the mayor's office and then get on the traffic commission agenda and basically present the same stuff. And it's the once a month.
Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, it would've
And
been-
so it'll be December. The next one will be December 7th. I can look real quick.
Yeah.
Like 23rd, 16th or 23rd. It's one of those.
Okay.
It's pretty informal. Just communicate with Kathy Launder, the assistant to the mayor. You'd like this added to the traffic commission agenda, provide this information, and then we'll notify you of when that meeting is and come have a discussion with that group.
Okay.
And if you guys are interested in it, I'm fine with going ahead and working with P to get the mobile unit put out there. When are you guys gonna be officially in the new building?
Toward the end of the year, if not in the first part of 2025.
So we're really not gonna be able to get data until beginning of next year?
Right.
Okay. I was gonna try to have it before you went to the traffic commission, but
With the exception, I'm sorry, the sheriff's office will be using those parking spaces on the north side of the alley. They already are.
Yeah,
So-
I've seen them, yeah.
We got in at 6, so we started using it.
Yeah, so I think as soon as you guys have people in there and you have a steady flow and we can set up the mobile unit to gather that data, to look at flow, and then I think, you know, having the traffic commission members go out there and walk it, they typically do that. But, so you guys can work together to figure, excuse me, figure something out. So we had a motion. I will go ahead and second. Any other discussion on this item? I don't think anybody else is here. So saying nothing further, Matt, whenever you're ready, and this is a motion to table.
Dan Klinger,
Aye.
Jackie Schroeder,
Aye.
Harry Trumbley,
Aye.
Rob Martin,
Aye.
Mayor Murin.
Aye. Thanks, guys. Look forward to working with you on it.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no other items on our agenda, this meeting of the City Planning Commission is adjourned.
I think they need a pedestrian bridge.
There you go. Yeah.
Maybe they need to apply for some grant money for that. Can we get them some grant money to build a pedestrian bridge? They can get their own expensive. Well, they. Safety.
Like a first floor to second floor to second floor? Yeah.
I don't understand